Hello, everyone. I'm Joshua Haberski, CEO of the Premium Cigar Association. We're here for another edition of the Filibuster. It is me solo today, talking things federal, state, and also some association updates. Our team has been furiously working on a variety of different projects. You'll see that in our latest edition of our magazine, which is in production. I know our team is working on highlighting some of the different events and programs and initiatives that we've been rolling out, and I'm going to talk about a few of them. I know concurrently right now in Mexico, we have Ricardo working on PCA Connect Mexico, which has been very successful. He did a fantastic job with Christian Arroyo and some of our other manufacturing partners in Honduras. They recently met with the president of Honduras, and there's a lot of good things. You may have read about that in some of the cigar media about the updates with the festival. Our team in the international side with Ricardo has been working on a lot of things, and we're all excited for Intertobac next month. I know a delegation from our team. We have a couple presentations. So we hope to see those of you that are going to Intertobac at Dortmund. On the advocacy front, we've had, as I mentioned, a lot of things going on. Just yesterday morning, I had a meeting with the Assistant Secretary of Commerce, David Fogel. We conducted a roundtable alongside several stakeholders. It was hosted by the Ambassador of the Dominican Republic to the United States. Really good quality discussion about the strategic partnership between the U.S. and the Dominican Republic as it relates to trade. And, you know, there's nothing more quintessential of that nexus of the DR and the U.S. than the Dominican cigars that are produced there. So we discussed that, and the folks from the Commerce Department were very receptive to our feedback and asked some questions about trade policy and how things are affecting our retail members as well as our associate members. Tomorrow, and I mentioned this on the previous edition of the Filibuster, that we are filing a comment on the proposed rule of foreign factory inspections. I want to highlight that we are aggressively raising concerns about this proposed rule for a variety of different reasons. I think chief among them is mixed-use factories that are producing premium and non-premium cigars being subject to this rule, as well as the FDA and Center for Tobacco Products not following the requisite research and protocols in order to proceed with a rule of this nature. The impetus for this is to go after vapor products, and yet it encompasses all tobacco and nicotine products. There was not an adequate small business analysis conducted in preparation for this proposed rule, nor were alternatives considered in the fact that for per executive order, you are supposed to have 10 rules wiped from the books, removed in order to promulgate a new rule. That is something that was not done in this instance. So, you know, we are really leveraging the fact that the administration is wanting to be deregulatory, cut red tape, while adding red tape for these inspections and registrations is not in line with what the administration has set and set guidelines for all of the different agencies, including the Center for Tobacco Products and the Food and Drug Administration at large. So that comment will be filed tomorrow, well in advance of the early September deadline. We have a series of events that we are participating and hosting in different cities. One in Washington next week. We're very excited to facilitate the next Cigar Caucus meeting. We are honored to have two special guests, Ernesto Carrillo from Casa Carrillo, along with David Savona from Cigar Aficionado. We have a variety of different activities planned, including meeting with several members of Congress next week. So that will be a good way for us to engage with sitting legislators for a smoke at the Capitol, which is always one of my favorite ways to enjoy a cigar, is overlooking the monuments of Washington. We are also in early September, and you will probably see on our social media as well as our email, conducting regional advocacy trainings. Glenn Loop will be leading these. I will be providing some basic updates in the beginning of those, but Glenn will be conducting. We do this every year. Hopefully we get more participation in those. A lot of people tell us that they want to be involved in advocacy. This is a perfect opportunity to get the 101 version, a refresher. If you're a state association leader, this is a must for you to attend. So sign up for or log on for those regional trainings. Those are on our social media and our email list. Earlier this week, I was in Providence, Rhode Island. I just want to give a shout out to a lot of the retailers that I met with, some new members. I think we had 3 new members join the association. Rhode Island is one of those states where we expect to have some advocacy challenges in the future. So we're really recruiting and trying to maximize the participation in key states like Rhode Island. Rhode Island, in terms of independent single store retailers, is chief among the states in New England. Obviously, you have behemoth states like New Hampshire with several iconic retailers that do a ton of volume. But in Rhode Island itself, you have so many small brick and mortar shops, cigar bars, and we're really making a concerted effort to recruit all of them, not only to come to the trade show, but more importantly, in the instance of Rhode Island, to participate in our advocacy programs. We want to make sure that there's no tax increases. So we've been also sharing our studies in states like Rhode Island that we conducted with Dr. Goss on taxation policy. So this is something that's preemptive. There's nothing on the books right now for the 2027 legislative cycle, but Glenn and I are going into certain areas along with our membership team and preparing people for what is to come. This is very proactive in nature, not reactive, and we want to make sure that we are at the forefront in the state legislatures. We will be renewing our state grant program in October. The PCA Board of Directors will be meeting. We conduct a fall meeting. There's 2 in-person meetings conducted by the association, one at the trade show, and then the longer format one is in October. This year, we will be doing it in Oklahoma City, where Todd Nafee, our board president, is based. Todd will be hosting that. We are also hosting a fall fundraiser. If you're in the Oklahoma City area, I would encourage you to attend the fall fundraiser and support the association. Rocky Patel and the folks at Burn in Oklahoma City have been nice enough to host us for that fall fundraiser. That's something that we typically do in Washington. One of the things that I set out in the last 2 years, and those of you that have been following the association and some of the changes we've been making know this very well, that we are getting out there on the road. We are not sitting in this office and waiting for the next trade show. We are preparing and building capacity and growing. So that's why we want to be out there in places like Oklahoma City, seeing our members. I know Lisa Sigler, myself, George Rico, we're flying out to Tulsa, actually, before the board meeting, doing an event in Tulsa before we go to the board meeting. So we want to go and visit and hear from retailers how to build programs. We're working on new affinity partnerships related to concerns that we've heard from our members. Insurance, small business insurance is one of them. I just had a great meeting yesterday with a fintech company in banking. So the association is getting a lot more sophisticated and advanced. And as we grow in terms of revenue and some of these other programs that we're doing, that gives us latitude to explore new avenues. I know a lot of you have seen the work with Ricardo internationally, and I want to set the record straight on some things because I've been seeing, and I follow cigar media, I follow the comments. You'll see me respond to comments from members, prospective members. If you have concerns or issues with the association, I encourage you to reach out to me, Joshua at premiumcigars.org. I will take a meeting. I want to hear from you. That's what I do when I go out on the road. In Rhode Island, I had 8 visits. I sat with owners of all or general managers of all those places with a notebook or, jotting down notes on my phone for 2 hours of like, this is how we can improve. This is where I see value. Those informal focus groups are impacting actual programming with the association, and all of our staff is working to implement some of those changes. So we had also this week a finance committee meeting, and we've been hearing a lot of good news over the last several years, 4 or 5 years in the finances of the association. This year, it's very possible that we eclipse $6 million in revenue, and some of that is because of the new programs. And I want people to be aware that just because we're doing something internationally doesn't mean that we are doing it at the expense of something that's done domestically. At the forefront of our membership is brick and mortar retailers in the United States. A lot of our programming, including the World Cigar Show, produces revenue that we then deploy and utilize in the United States. So that's something that I want to clarify and emphasize, because I've heard from some folks that, they see Ricardo traveling, they see me traveling, our team traveling. That's, expenses, the festivals. We work through partnerships with a lot of these other entities in the cigar industry where we have trade-offs. So, for a lot of these, we are not paying a ticket price. We are providing a presentation. And with the acquisition of the Cigar Academy, which has been profitable in month 1, we were able to secure, additional contracts through courses through the Cigar Academy. So that really covers the bases. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to reach out to me. But thank you all for tuning in, and hope to see you on the road soon.